Hello Internet and welcome to another video on PCGamesN. This video is all about World of Warcraft patch 7.3. What is that, you may ask? Well, it's the possibly final major content patch for Legion, the current expansion to World of Warcraft, and it involves going into space, on a spaceship obviously, and heading to a planet that's now sitting right next to Azeroth. Listen, it's all very complicated, and that's why I'm here to help. So, what is on Argus? Well, there's 3 new zones, 2 new dungeon/raids, and much more. You know, world quests, all that sort of thing. As far as the time gating goes, which has been kind of an issue throughout the whole expansion, well, they've announced it, and it isn't good news if you hate time gating, but it is good news if you really, really hated the last version of time gating. Here, there'll just be 3 kind of unlock periods. There'll be the time when the patch initially launches, where we'll get the first zone, and I think the second zone as well, along with a few world quest unlocks. That's the first 2 chapters of the Argus experience, as it were. Then we'll get, later on, a week later in fact, we'll get the second unlock, and that'll have the next 2 chapters and most of the rest of the storyline. Finally, a week after that, so 15 days after the patch actually launches, you'll get access to all the stuff that's coming that hasn't yet arrived, and that'll be almost immediate, in fact. So you'll get the Netherlight Crucible without having to go through loads and loads of questing on the day, just trying to rush so you get your extra power. As for what that 2 weeks of questing will actually involve, well, there's a lot of killing demons, there's a lot of purging demons, there's a lot of taking demon stuff and making it yours, you know, gathering loot, the good stuff. But there'll also be moments where you leave Argus entirely to go to other worlds that the Legion has invaded. There'll be points where you're driving around in your spaceship, yes, you're getting a spaceship, and blowing up more demons, and of course, much more. There'll be world quests, actual faction quests for 2 new factions, including the Army of the Light, and then all of that will gather together to give you even more stuff to look forward to as you journey through Argus. So what about the instanced stuff? Well, there's a 4-boss raid called the Seat of the Triumvirate, where you're fighting against a Shadow Naru of some sort, as well as their horrendous followers. And then there's the 11-boss raid called the Burning Throne. Now, I expect that name will seem a little familiar to Azeroth's Frozen Throne, and exactly what the connection is there, well, you'll have to raid it to find out. Of course, there, you're fighting against Sargeras and everything he's been cooking up, trying to, you know, destroy the universe, as he likes to do so much. As these are meant to be the kind of last major content drops of the expansion, I'd expect to see, you know, some good fights, a lot of really long fights as well, and probably 1 or 2 secret phases. The final fight of this raid, and indeed the expansion as a whole, if we're thinking right, is in fact against a Titan version of the planet Argus itself. It ends, well, spoilers, with, we think, Sargeras being imprisoned, but exactly how all of that happens, again, we'll have to play it to find out. Expect to get your ass kicked a lot of times, but probably not quite as many as Method. And again, hopefully, the tuning works out a little better than it did on Mythic Kil'jaeden. Of course, in there for everyone is the new tier sets, the new armour that you'll be able to equip, and hopefully will make your character better. If you want to see exactly what's happening so that you can complain on the forums or otherwise bemoan the state of your class, please do check the full post on PCGamesN.com. So what about progression? Well, that all comes down to the Netherlight Crucible, which, as mentioned, unlocks in the 3rd week. The reason for that is so that you're not trying to rush through all the content to get to it when, you know, you have a raid to get to. Now, as far as what it does, it's about increasing the power of your relics, which then scales with the actual artifact level for your artifact. That goes all the way up to level 75, so expect to get a little more AP grinding in before the expansion's over. As for what it actually does, it takes the relic that you have and adds a bunch more traits to it. Well, it adds 1 trait and then a bunch of other kind of new stuff that we haven't seen before. This comes down to stuff that's as simple as just increasing the item level of your artifact, as well as giving it whole new powers. Now, unfortunately, this whole system is going to be very RNG focused because of it actually is a fairly interesting way of doing it when it comes down to not making sure that there is still some progression. You don't just have your 3 best relics on launch day, but also because of the way relics were initially designed in the background by Blizzard themselves. You'll need to watch their video to find out the exact specifics behind that. Rest assured that it does mean that you'll have plenty of interesting choices to make, even if you can't always be 100% optimal. As for everything else, well, it's basically all getting an upgrade. Whether you're doing professions, you're getting new ores and new leathers to mine and skin, and then turn into new items, new jewels, all the rest of it. For mounts, there are so many new mounts. There is an almost infinite number of new mounts. There's also tweaks to transmog to make the window friendlier and make Tauren able to actually see their beautiful clothes. As for battle pets, well, if you enjoy playing Pokemon in your World of Warcraft, there's enough to look forward to here. A whole new achievement, raiding with Leash's Cataclysm, is available in this version. Of course, it'll involve going back to all those Cataclysm raids that perhaps you'd rather forget, but that's what you get for wanting to play a different game within WoW. Finally, legendaries. One is confirmed, it doubles the effect of all of the Netherlight Crucible, so you're probably going to want it as soon as possible. That's just about everything from World of Warcraft patch 7.3. We might hear a little bit more about it, or indeed what's coming afterwards at Gamescom, so keep an eye out for that. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit like. For more, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.